Okay, so now we are going to be looking into some vehicle rules. We've got a list. I'll just read out a few. It's from 1 up until number 10. Number 1, remember, it is the vehicle rules that we are going through. So number 1, a vehicle obviously may not be used on a public road unless all parts of the steering are maintained in a condition which enables the vehicle to be steered safely and efficiently. Number 2, may not be used on a public road if the turning radius of such vehicle exceeds 13.1 meters. Number 3, a light motor vehicle must be fitted with pneumatic tires which display throughout across the breadth and around the entire circumference a pattern that is clearly visible and has a thread of at least 1 millimeter in depth. Might not go through all of those rules. I will just end there and then we start moving into the questions. But you might need to be aware that all of those rules are very much important that you go through. And then we will also learn through the questions that we're going to be looking into. So let's see. Question number 1 out of 13. What is the minimum tire tread depth that is allowed? We've got A being 0.85 millimeters over the whole surface. Obviously, you can already see what the answer should be, being 1 millimeter over the whole surface. Anything which is not 1 millimeter, it means it is incorrect. So on all the upcoming questions which are related to the minimum tire tread depth, it is easy to remember it has to be 1 millimeters. Let's move on to the next question. The tread pattern of your vehicle tires may not be less than millimeters. We just know that anything that is not 1 millimeter, it will not be what we are looking for, because what we know is that the minimum tire tread has to be 1 millimeter. Yes, it has to be 1 millimeter. I'm looking there, we've got 0.75. We also have 1.5. So that means our answer, it has to be the second one. That's why on those options, we choose the one which says that second one only. It is the one which is correct. Okay, so let's move on to the next question. You just need to be aware that these questions will be related to the same thing but being asked differently. So in this instance, I'm just hoping that you will be in a position where you are aware that questions are being asked differently. So let's see, the minimum required tire tread depth for light motor vehicles is, we're just looking for 1 millimeter, which is the third option. I think it's an easy one. Okay, let's see. An unattended vehicle must turn on its parking lights if unattended for more than 1 hour. Must be locked. Third option, must have the handbrake applied. So when you look at those options that you are given, obviously they must have the handbrake applied. It is the most relevant answer. Whether the car is locked, it has got nothing to do with it being parked more than an hour. Or it has got nothing to do with it being unattended to. The first option must turn on its parking lights. Okay, the parking lights are not meant to be used for vehicles which are unattended. That is why that option has to be irrelevant. But at all the times, the handbrake must be applied for a stationary vehicle. Very, very much important on that one. Okay, vehicles must be fitted with pneumatic tires and have a tread of at least in a depth 1 millimeter is what we are looking for. Okay, you may not drive on a public road if the turn radius of your vehicle is more than C. This answer comes from a list of those rules. So that means it is very much important that you go through all those rules so that you know that any question related to those rules, you'll be able to identify the relevant answer. You may leave your engine running while the motorcycle is stationary and unattended. I've got an option: true, false, neither. Guys, it just has to make sense without you having to read through the theory part. When you read through that information, it just has to make sense that you just can't, and you may not leave your engine running while the motorcycle is stationary and unattended. So that is why an answer there, it is false. Okay, what is the maximum turning radius of a light of a vehicle used on a public road, excluding that of a bus, train, or rigid goods vehicle? That figure, 13.1 meters, we have it from the rules. The tread pattern of a light motor vehicle's tire may not be less than, we know, it has to be 1 millimeters. An unattended vehicle, this is more like complete this sentence. An unattended vehicle, what we know is that at all the times it must have the handbrake applied, whether it is being locked or it must turn on its parking lights. These or those two has got nothing to do with an unattended vehicle, but what we know is that it must just have the handbrakes applied. Okay, the minimum required tire tread, that we know it has to be 1 millimeters. The minimum required tire tread, okay, even without having to read through all that question, we just know that we are looking for an answer that has 1 millimeters. A motor vehicle which is designed for or capable of reaching a speed of or more must be equipped with a speedometer which is in good working conditions. 60 kilometers per hour. That is the answer for this question. Someone might be wondering regarding where that answer is coming from. Okay, let's look at rule number 10. Rule number 10, it says a motor vehicle which is designed for or capable of reaching a speed of 60 kilometers per hour or more, it must be equipped with a speedometer which is in a good working condition. So that means anything that is moving and it has the capacity to reach at least 60 kilometers per hour, it must be equipped with a speedometer. So in other words, anything that has a maximum of less than that in terms of speed, it will not need a speedometer. Okay, that's it.